looked like to me that it was between you and Tags for much of the last few days, and that's exactly what it came down to.
Yeah, you know, it was you know, kind of a strange day, and it was good to see everybody stick it out, and you know, kudos to IMS for obviously drying the track and you know, getting the Fast 9 show going at the end. I think it was a good effort, and obviously you know, everybody stuck around to see it. But yeah, we missed a little bit. I think at the end the track was, you know, the conditions were substantially a little bit, well, not substantially, a little bit better. I think that's where you saw the increase in speeds, but you know, Dario obviously missed on fuel a little more than what we did, and he ran out in 1, and I ran out in turn, just getting to turn 4. So I think that cost us the pole. You know, we had 2 27.5s across the board for the whole 3 laps to start with, and you know, going into 3, looking at my splits on my wheel, I was the same or if not up on those laps, and headed to 4, and runs out of gas, and you know, we lost 9/10 of a mile an hour on the last lap. So you know, a bit frustrating, and I know Dario's probably a little more ticked off than what I am, but you know, to come so close and you know, not quite get it was real frustrating. But you know, not to obviously take anything away from Tagliani, did a fantastic job. You know, it's a team that he put together, you know, a few years ago, and obviously to see them so strong and take the pole, you know, I feel real happy for him and for what he's achieved.
Questions for Scott?
Scott, if you put 2 more gallons of fuel in the tank, how much speed would that cost you?
I think we only needed about 1/4 of a gallon or half a gallon. You know, it's pretty close. Dario could have probably used 2 gallons. I think we still would have ran, you know, that's why I said the split was about the same going into 3, which was saying that we'd run a 2:27.5 or better. So, you know, that would have put our average at a 2:27.5 something. I still don't have a clarification of what Tag actually ran in the end for an average, but I think that would have been pretty close.
Back here.
Scott, the guys in the shop talked a lot about the last couple of weeks about precision and executing and making sure the little things are done right. With that said, we get a little surprised that something like making sure you guys have enough fuel to qualify. And also, what do you, how's your mindset now, the entire team, as you head into next week?
Yeah, I can imagine it's pretty exciting in the team truck right at the minute. And I haven't seen Chip yet, so you know, obviously Dario lost a lot more than I did. You know, I lost the pole, I think, due to it. But Dario lost, you know, a good 6 or 7 positions. So, you know, it's obviously mistakes happen, and I made a mistake earlier in my qualifying run this morning where, you know, almost spun and had to do a big lift in 3, which, you know, it happens. You know, I think with the big downtime, with almost 2.5 hours, 3 hours from the rain delay and all that kind of stuff, maybe the engine had too many warm-ups, you know, engine warm-ups, chew through the gas quite a bit, and that's kind of seems to me that that's what we missed by, is maybe by, you know, 1 engine warm-up on fuel, and we didn't calculate for that. And you know, Dario's was a little more, as I said earlier, but yeah, it's frustrating, but you know, it goes back to that saying that most of us hate, and that's racing.
Other questions for Scott?
Scott, did you think about it when Dario had a problem and you went out? Were you wondering if you were going to have a problem?
It did, you know, it did cross my mind, because I was on the team channel before that, obviously just listening into how his run was going, and you know, it also helps for what gears you should run when I go out. And he got his, you know, fuel warning light in like lap 1 or 2, which is really strange, and I'm like, wow, that's odd, because Mike said it on my radio, and I was like, oh, maybe they're just, you know, it's, you know, threshold or setting is wrong. And then when he came through 1 on the 3rd lap, I heard him, I thought he'd lifted, and I'm like, man, he's got another lap to go. I hope he just didn't lift. But obviously it ran out of fuel, so you know, exactly what happened started running through my head. I'm like, we use probably the same numbers a lot of the times to calculate fuel, and you know, hopefully we didn't mess up on my car, because obviously it's too late at that point. You just can't pull out and put fuel in, you know, with how the rules are. So, you know, it's kind of frustrating in some ways that we only got given 1 attempt today. You know, you know, I think Dario last year was like, we only need to do 1 attempt. You know, I'm sure if it was, you know, you asked him right now, he probably would have liked another attempt. So, yeah, it happened, and that was it.
Other questions for Scott? Is that a hand?
Yeah. Scott, the Ganassis and the Penske's have dominated here, especially in qualifications and even in the races as well. And you guys may well dominate the race, your two teams. But what do you think about the lesser teams doing so well in qualifying? What does that say about Indianapolis?
You know, I think if you know, a lot of the times I'm not a team owner or anything, and I don't even want to attempt to be one. But I think maybe it's where you put your emphasis on, where you spend your development money. And I know Tagliani and his guys and Alan McDonald and them have obviously worked extremely hard, and that showed, I think, during the week. I don't think I ever saw them do one race run. So they focused solely on trying to get the pole. The cars were definitely fast, and you could see that across the stable. At least 3 or 4 of those cars were in the top 9, which I think today was a real strange mix of people and efforts, and even to see Elio starting 16th is kind of mind-boggling. But I think the weather conditions, how the day played out, the short amount of time with 40-something cars trying to qualify, is really hard to get your time right and really nail your first attempt. And it caught a lot of people out today. So it's a good mix. I think it will make the race fantastic. You're going to see some good cars coming from a little further back, and maybe some cars that haven't concentrated on race setup too much slip back.
Looking around. Scott, we'll let you go back to that lively meeting.
Yeah, I can't wait. Thanks.